Hey kids, welcome to Glenn's recording studio. We are down here working on bass lines for about, I've been working on 80 original songs that I've written in the last while. The structures are all done. Tempos are set. So what normally happens, how I do things, is this is my recording studio, but upstairs I have a computer that's set up for recording also, but it's just like in my living room, real casual, simple. I have one guitar amp up there, a couple of guitars, and I utilize either software synthesizers or software drums, or some kind of rhythm method up there for recording a guide track. So basically what I do is I write the songs mainly upstairs. Sometimes I write them down here. Most of my songs are written on guitar, the odd ones on piano or electronic synthesizers or whatever. Anything small scale, just so I can move it around. If I'm not using it, I put it in the corner. So I got a couple guitars, just throw them in the corner. So what I do is always play to a click track. So the software I use up there is, I use Mixcraft most of the time. Simple, easy, well working, stable program, and I use that for all my rough drafts or doing keyboard sequencing. I do have the recording software I use down here, which is Platinum, Sonar Platinum. Yeah, it's older. I know it's a defunct company and it was bought out by another company. I'm happy with what I got. I'm no longer upgrading. This is fine for what I need. I know it so well. It's just I'm not getting into learning other stuff anymore. I want to write songs and record them. So what I do is, once I have that rough draft and the click track, then I'll boot to the other half of my studio. There's a real kit over there all mic'd up, but there's also an electronic kit. So what I do is, in front of the electronic kit there is a computer. I take my rough draft, the small computer that's in front of it runs exactly the same software as the computer upstairs and the one here. So I record through the night. I can record electronic drum parts to these guitar ideas that I come up with. So what I do is I usually give a couple of straight bars of just straight kick snare just as a guide. Not a big fan of just playing to a click when I'm playing the guitar parts, but sometimes that's what I have to do. So anyways, I record the drum track in the computer with my bed track or rough guitar track. Then I go back upstairs and I just rework everything. I edit it, try and get things tight with the drum track that I did. And the drum tracks are very basic. I might put some crashes in, might do some odd goofy fills in, but normally it's pretty straight all the way through, because I eventually want real drums on them. So it's really not a big deal to go with that crazy, doing complex drum tracks. Although the one today has a complex drum part. And it was just easier for me to work on the electronic kit because I'm nocturnal. I do things at night. I can't play a real kit during the night when my wife's sleeping, or the neighbors will, because they'd lose their minds. Even though it's soundproof, still, double bass is not neighbor friendly. So I do an electronic kit just to get the idea down. So the song we're working on today, just for bass, is a song called Future Fog, which is kind of the first song I've written for 2026. So it's kind of a thrown in with the batch of my tail enders of 25. So yeah, so what I do is once the electronic drum kit is on there, and I'm happy with what I've come up with, just as a template, a raw template, then I go back and tweak the guitars, or I might add a second guitar just to feel how that goes. So now what I do is I mix it all to get a better sound, put it on a thumb drive with all the other songs that I've been working on that need all this process of adding the other instruments, because I play everything and it's really time consuming. So we come down this part of the studio with my bass guitar, with my bass rig. I've got a couple of bass preamps that I use, and I just work on the bass parts. And it's not so much as having to play it all the way through the whole song. All I want is to get each section of bass guitar created to my liking. The advantage is all I'm using is basically 6 tracks. In this, I call it a work file. So it has the ghost track, which is the original guitar and the added electronic drums. It has that channel. It has a bass channel track. Has 2 guitar tracks. Has a vocal track and keyboards. Nothing to do with drums. I have a whole drum template set up for this big kit that's over here. That once I'm done these tracks here, like the bass track, I can just mix it down to a wave and bring it over and put it in the drum template. It's just easier to work around that. I don't always do that, but about 90% of the time that's how I do it. I'm working with the basic electronic drum track. I do the drums last in almost all cases with my music. It's hard to do it first for me, because my guitar ideas are always changing, and there's a bunch of other reasons why I don't. But 90% of the times, I guess we'll say the drums are done last. Sometimes the drums go on before the bass, and I work out the 2 drum and bass parts. But like right now I'm working on 80 original songs just from 2025, and I have right now 1 from 226, but there are other songs I've already written for 226. So there's over 100 and something songs that I'm working on, and it's a really slow process because I write more than I finish the recordings of these songs. It's just that it doesn't balance out. It's easier to write stuff for me than to do all the tracks for all these instruments and do all the final mixes and vocals. And yeah, not all these songs have vocals, by the way. So the scoop is we are just working on bass tracks, but I do in my head have drum tracks, good drum tracks laid up not laid up, but ready to work with what I come up with bass guitar. So yeah, so I'll give you a little short viewing here. So that's all we have. I'm going to try and not get the camera and the light bulb glare. So if you follow the cursors, ghost track, bass track, guitar track, and that's basically it. So if I have a vocal idea, I can just throw it on here, and it'd be a good idea. And I do all my lyric writing at various times too. But today we're just working on bass to go with this particular song called Future Fog. And I'm just running a bass track for this one because this song's pretty. It's got a lot of stuff going on. It's a long song. It may be chopped down, but I like to have a song longer that I can chop down than one that's too short, and I'm struggling to find things to make it in the 4 and 5 minute mark. Not all songs have to be that way, but Future Fog, this one is probably 7.5 minutes long. It's a little bit retro. I wanted something retro. The guitar playing is pretty straight, nothing too elaborate. I like doing a lot of picking on songs, but this one's pretty straight rock, but it's prog-ish. There's a lot of weirdness in it. So there's a heavy drum double bass section, and this polyrhythmic guitar and keyboard track that I have over top of it. And so it sounds quite like a circus. So I worked on this quite a bit to get the drums to plow through as a double bass, but it's not strictly double bass through the whole thing. It's broken patterns of double bass. So trying to come up with a bass line for that is still not in my head. But I also have just a separate drum track, so I can actually work out the bass if I wanted to, along with it, just to work out parts. But right now I'm just getting a feel for the entire song with bass and just putting some raw ideas. I have no ideas for this one. This one was just popped into my head while I was playing the guitar, and I just kept working with it. Nothing else bass-wise was even in there as an idea, so it's kind of a cold turkey thing. So this is basically what I do. So I'm basically concentrating on a song called Future Fog, one called The Mammoth Car, a country one called The Tank Is Half Empty, and there's 2 or 3 other ones that the guitar parts are pretty much the way I want them, and those won't be altered. So they're the closest to getting done, because drum wise I can do things pretty quick. Bass, it takes some time, so I probably won't have this song done today. I might be able to finish a couple of the other ones, but this one I'm starting off with, and it's going to be toughy. So I'm just going to play this song for you. And like I say, it's weird. The guitar playing is going to be done over and tighter and better. So this is just a rough draft. The drum track that I did is on electronic drums. I won't be keeping that, but it will be, the double bass part is pretty much set in stone in 4 sections. That's all it has, 4 sections. That is staying. The rest of the drum tracks will be altered and not as busy, but there will be drum fills and different kind of shots. So this is what you got to do. When I'm writing songs, it's not cut and dry for the most part. It's like, it's always come back to the table, revamp this, come back to the table, revamp that, and it takes time. So now if I had musicians here, I could suggest, how they do stuff, and it'd be done quicker, because you don't have to always depend on yourself. You can have other people here, but this is my solo stuff. I do everything on my solo stuff. Okay. The odd time we'll ask someone to do a guitar lead, which is usually one of my good friends. And that's about it. Anything structure wise, I do it all. So that's why I got into this. So nothing's AI in this, and nothing will ever be AI related in my music. I worked my whole life to do this. I worked my whole life to save up and buy gear, and I worked my whole life to learn these instruments. So why come to the end of the line and then start cheating? Because to me, AI is cheating. It's not you. You can say you pushed a few buttons. It's not you. Sorry. That's the way I feel about it. So everything I do is basically blood, sweat, and tears down here or upstairs in the upper studio. So anyways, so I'll give you a taste of the song. That's the first time you're probably going to be hearing this, because I don't think I've even posted samples of this one. So it's retro. My wife loves this song. She doesn't like all the stuff I write, but this one she liked. And it was her suggestion to actually put a keyboard part in behind the double bass drumming, and it almost sounds like, I say, a carnival circus. Like, it's really busy. It's really got, because there's a polyrhythm happening between the guitars, the keyboards, and the drums. It does sound quite messy, but I like it. It's a little brain surgery. So we'll give you that, and that'll be the video for today. As I start to learn some of the bass parts, I will do some short updated videos for that, and you can see where the song is going. As for recording the real drums, that's always tough for me because of the camera angles and having to run everything from behind the drum set to control everything on the screen and software. So we'll see. We'll take that in strides. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna play this tune, and like I say, it's just rough. And I'm gonna hold the camera just to drive you nuts with my shaking hands. Okay, so that's the scoop on that tune. Basic structure. I kept the guitar parts basic for the structure. I'm adding to them. I'm not adding more parts, but I'm working on getting the parts a little more complicated. I always like to write basic first and then build on it. Before anybody asks, the drum track was not played all at once. I always do the drums in section, but I always play to a click track. So you have this, I guess the word continuity between the parts. So that double bass part is almost the same in all four parts, except by one bar. So two sections with the keyboards are done. I believe it's 13 bars, 13 or 14 bars. I think it's 13 bars. The other section is cut off by one bar, so 12 bars. It's 12 bars total. And the keyboards don't go in the two. I was experimenting with that. So the beginning and end have the keyboard and the middle doesn't. So I might elaborate a little more on guitar in those two sections. Maybe cater more to the drums instead of playing this little polyrhythmic thing. But I don't know. I mean, that's still up for debate, but the drum part is basically in those double bass part. That's like gold. I even transcribed it. I posted it on my Facebook page just for some friends. So that is going to be played on the real kit exactly the same way. The other parts, I've already got ideas for the blends into the different sections. So it's not just going to be straight drums like that. There's going to be some added part, but not complicated, but just added parts for transition. Okay, I forgot to show you all the songs I'm working on of my own originals. All these in the right column, right here. They have their tempos marked. These are all the raw demos. Some of these I have been working on. Some I've got the bass down and we're on to drums. Yeah, so in this folder I think there's 80 songs. Yeah, 80 or 82, something like that. Yeah, so yeah, we rarely sleep. I'm always doing the music thing, as everybody knows. It's just something I love to do. Hands are a bit sore. If you see me doing this, we've had so much snow in our city here, and I've been shoveling my hand for months here. So fingers are a little sore, so you got to get them limbered up for playing bass and drums and guitar. So anyways, so that's a list. So that's the scoop. Thanks for watching. I know it was a lot of gabbing there, and the song is, like I say, 7.5 minutes long. So hopefully you like the finished product. Remember, it's just rough draft and not finished. Do I have lyrics for the song? I have some. I'm not sure I'm going to do a vocal line on it yet. The parts I have I like, but I don't have the whole song. We'll see how much insanity goes trying to get vocals for a song like this. Yeah, I'm notorious for writing songs long like this and doing vocals, but we'll see. This one I haven't totally felt it as a vocal song yet, but we'll see. Okay, thanks for watching.